Ha ha. You better choose yourself and let's get it. Welcome to another episode on the Choose Yourself channel where we give you more growth than you can handle. Maybe. Hope you can handle it. That's why you got a GYM, and that's grow your mind with inner size. We turn breaking points into turning points and masks into mirrors. Do you like what you see? You got to choose yourself to get gains. If you don't like what you see, same thing. We are not that different. And today's guest is living proof that rock bottom can be the foundation for your rebirth. She's been through the fire and still has nice skin. How you do that? Choosing yourself. Abuse, overmedication, addiction, isolation, all necessary. But a complete disconnection from self, yet somehow she didn't just survive, she transformed. True inspiration. She turned her trauma into truth, her wounds into wisdom, and her silence into service. She built her foundation on meditation, exercise, passion, and radical self-awareness with accountability. She checks herself before she wrecks herself. So today, we're talking masks, boundaries, rebirth, and what it really means to choose yourself, even when the world tries to sell you another version. Welcome to the show, Clark. How you feeling?
I'm feeling so good, especially after that intro. Hey, let's get it.
That's how we do, man. That's
When you
how we
put it
do.
like that.
Yeah, see, that's you did. Hey, whenever you need me to intro, whenever you get to doing your thing, let me know. I'll go on to it with you.
So we're gonna call you Hakeem the Voice.
I could be
'Cause
that.
that was, yeah.
Yeah, I can be that. Now on here, the Choose Yourself channel, we really try to take stories and how they relate to the Choose Yourself process. The 5 pillars. Recognize your trigger points, which is usually when we get done dealing with our own shit. Evaluate your environment with mindful consumption with a little bit of balance. Setting the foundation, time management and routine. Invest in yourself, time, energy, resources back into yourself, and creation and contribution from the new character you developed from the process. So, what was a wound or turning point or dark place that you now consider part of your wisdom and purpose?
Yeah, we're just diving right in.
Come on now.
um, I'm okay with that because we gotta bring what's inside, in the darkness out to the light, and that's how we heal it. So yeah, I am a human being that has lived many lives in this short time on earth. And I feel like the first part of my life was riddled with a lot of trauma. There was beautiful things, I'm so grateful that my young mother of 16 brought me into this life. But when you're brought into the world by a kid, it comes with shit.
Mhm.
They are a child. They have no idea what they're doing. My mom was 16, had me, just figuring things out. And so that came with us being in some really tough situations financially, the environment. She always did her best to make sure that we were cared for and, had food to eat, had a roof over our heads. But, a lot of times in those struggle situations, there's some unsavory things that permeate your reality. So I'm no stranger to physical violence, sexual abuse. And I think, even as an adult, those things have shaped who I am. They've shaped my resilience. They've shaped the way that I, view people and situations. They've shaped my ability to forgive and to heal and move past some really dark things. So that being said, all of that, I've made it through. I'm still standing, I'm
Mhm.
still here. And I would say that, I'm even better for it. The, things that were rough on me have created a smoothness and, a luster about my spirit that I'm really thankful for.
Yeah, a sense of compassion, would you say, where you have a soft spot for people who have been through something. And a lot of people, I think, a lot of people have been through some form of abuse or neglect. What was your kind of first technique or tactic to start shifting your confidence in yourself after whatever you felt going through that experience?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really even aware of it until, I got into adulthood. Those things started to present as, anxiety, depression, lack of motivation and creativity. Because I always, from the time I can remember, I've loved music. I'm a singer, songwriter, producer, and I would say multidisciplinary creator. And that's been in me since I was very, very small. And so, I along the way lost my passion for those things to, like I was saying, the anxiety, the depression, things like that. And, went the traditional route of getting medicated and going to therapy and seeing a psychiatrist, and that worked for a time, but that was my go-to. That's just what I was told that you do when you struggle with these things, and not to knock anybody that chooses that path, because it can be very, very helpful in helping you find what works for you when you deal with certain traumas and different things like that. But that's where I started, and it led me to this place of like um extreme darkness. Like I was good. I'm like, okay, this is looking up. And then the darkness just came in and surrounded me, in the form of like, I just really lost it. I lost touch with myself. I lost touch with reality. I just had everything that I had been suppressing come up, and I just felt swallowed by it. And the way that moment where I was like, none of this outside of me is helping what's inside of me.
Hmm.
So the answer and the solutions must be inside of me. And that's when I really turned inward and started to say, I have to heal myself because nobody's coming to save me. And so I changed my diet to, I removed processed foods, went raw vegan for 90 days and then vegan thereafter. I've been plant based for 8 years, drinking lots of water, meditating, yoga, going out in nature, just putting my feet in some grass. Sitting under hugging trees,
Yeah.
the simple things that we do as children that heal us and fill our spirit, I start tapping back into those things. And so that's really what helped and to peel away those layers of darkness, I guess, and help me see more clearly who who all of who I am, and because you gotta look at all of it,
Hmm.
it's all you. You have to look at it and you have to integrate it. And and once I started just doing that and, focusing on those things and seeing those things, I started to feel better. I started to, the fog cleared, I started to feel reinvigorated and like got back in touch with my inner child who loved to sing and loved to create and loved to perform. So that brought me to 2018. I'm like, all right, we here.
I was actually just talking about that on a previous episode where you'll keep revisiting the breaking point until you do the healing after your trigger point. So, dark
Mhm.
place, trigger point, and then usually, like you, medication, therapy, partying, playing sports, whatever you're doing to keep your mind busy, keep it numb, keep the mask on, keep from running from it, that will get you for a certain amount of time. You'll be good. You'll be able to go through life. But when something else surfaces that reminds you of something that you hid, you're gonna get broken again. And that's what you were just talking about. That's what happened to me. I had a whole episode about that where it was breaking point, dark place, trigger point, mask, breaking point, dark point, numb, trigger point. Until I healed it, there was not a point where I was like, oh, this is the shit that be messing me up every time. And that's beautiful that you just said exactly that, because then you start to choose differently, to start to evolve and understand ourselves with the natural way. So that's something that y'all got to tap in with, man. Is try to get back to the natural state, go inward, and embrace your healing in your story. But you did, so you started to change your environment and consumption.
Yeah, I really did. And honestly, it is the environment and it's the healthy eating. I never want to be like, oh, just eat healthy and drink water and all your problems will be solved. Like that is a part of it. Your habits shape, your like the world around you, your reality. But it was also just like radically like telling the truth, because once you get past a certain point, or I shouldn't say past, but once you start dealing with stuff, right? And you look at it, you dig it up and unpack it and all these things, and you kind of, you do get to a point where you're like, okay, even in that cycle that you're talking about, you get to a point where you're like, okay, I know how to do this. I know how to address these things that are coming up. Like, you still have to be so for real with yourself, because I would do, especially after that big jump of like radical, that was like a turning point in my life. I still would have issues, interpersonally, or maybe, I wasn't quite in the, professional space I wanted to be in, or the creative space I wanted to be in, relationships with family. And I'm like, I'm doing all this healing. Why am I still having issues? It's like, because you're lying to yourself that you're fully like healed. You got to be careful not to let that have you put yourself on this like pedestal. You know what I mean? Like,
Hmm.
after you do some heal, it's like there's still more. There's still
Yeah,
more to be done. Like,
forever.
today, as we see today,
Yeah,
forever.
forever. I mean, shit. The only reason I have these conversations and help people is to learn about myself and other people. It's literally reciprocity. When you start to impact others and you start to have conversations, stuff gets uncovered within you all the time. Like today, I mean, the other episode was about triggers, and it was like if somebody triggers you and feel a type of way, ain't got nothing to do with them. It's about you. I was in the gym, and there was a dude who was right next to me, butt naked, and I'm always like, why are you so close to me naked? But it's this locker room. Why am I feeling the type of way? We're in a locker room.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Right.
we're all getting ready. We're in the same area. And why would I say something? Is that something that makes me
Yeah.
uncomfortable? We're all men in the locker room, which still I think is kind of weird. Why are you so close? But I didn't say anything. I control my
Right.
emotions, right? So there's small stuff that pisses you off when somebody on the train and they be breathing on you. I hate that. I can't stand it. I don't know if that's a trigger or that's just my man, they be right up in your face. Coffee and no brush. I said,
Breathing on
golly. I'm like, damn, y'all close, man. Let me off. I'm on another train. But
I'm outta
when you
here.
do heal, like life doesn't get easier, we get better at it. And when you have the systems, you recover faster. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about with the healing, with the nature, with the exercise, with the diet. That's all systems to prepare for the bullshit that's coming. And it's coming. You want to complain about your anxiety and you can't sleep and oh my God, this happened to me, and you're eating bullshit, smoking bullshit, watching bullshit. Well, that's on you. It's gonna take you a lot longer. So give yourself a chance for sure.
Yeah, I mean, got to, especially in the world today where, dopamine is king. I know, like, I create this, foundation for myself where it's like, okay, I'm going to do this much creating. I'm going to, do my exercise. I'm going to get out into nature. I'm going to practice my guitar. I have like a list of things that feed me, that I try and choose like 3 to 5 things from that list to do every day. And that's something that helps keep me, on the path, and helps me to fight my own gloomy feelings.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things where, yeah, you can have all of these systems, but it's also building the discipline alongside that, because you're going to have a lot of distractions, right?
Hmm.
You're going to have a lot of, and the chase for dopamine. Ooh,
It's
man,
out
it's
there.
just like these phones. I'm
Phones,
like,
sugar, liquor.
right,
You talking about
sugar.
processed foods, porn, gambling, swiping, dating. That shit is, you trying to get likes. You posting for likes for dopamine.
Yeah, yeah. And it's hard, because it's like it's everywhere. But I heard someone say the other day, like, you know, and I think she was talking about real food, but I equated it to like, you know, other things. If you're snacking all the time, you're just snacking, 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 you're getting a little bit here, a little bit there, you're not going to feel really truly hungry. And I like the way, the edge that it gives me when I feel a little bit hungry,
Oh, for real?
and that's yeah, like, okay, not like I really would like to be satiated with food. I love food, but I'm meaning like in life, you know,
Right.
you
No,
know what I
yeah, for
mean?
sure. Yeah.
I like that edge, so I can like work, and I can have something to aspire to, and keep my dreams at the forefront of that, right? But if I'm getting a little coddling here and this satiating here and this relationship and this sex and this, these unhealthy snacks and too much screen time, I'm not feeling hungry and therefore I don't have the drive to go get up and get it. You know what I mean? Whatever, and by it, I
Hmm.
mean whatever that is to whoever, for me, it's, a life where my creativity and my spirit and my flow is my currency, right?
Hmm.
And so that's what I'm working toward. And when I am not setting up those systems that you talk about for discipline, I'm learning that hinders me, you know? If I'm not working on my discipline alongside setting up those systems.
The contrast is what makes it a celebration and not an addiction. It's the ability to break free. It's the time you can go without thinking about caffeine. If you think about caffeine every damn day, you need to stop caffeine. If you're thinking about weekend
Mhm.
partying all week, a date that you got planned, you thinking about playing a video game, you at work, or you need to take a break. It's distracting you. Now, if you like, oh, on Christmas, I'm gonna have some drinks with my parents. Cool. Put it in your calendar. It's freaking not even Thanksgiving yet. Fine. Then it becomes a celebration. It becomes intention. And that puts you in the dopamine consumption loop where you wake up, caffeine, processed food during the day. Now you need a boost in the afternoon. Now you need melatonin and wine and the joint to go to sleep. You ain't never even been with yourself yet. And that's the issue. It's
Right.
so accessible to click and buy, order, like, follow, pass judgment, gain information, gain information. You got biases online where you're only relating with things and following things that are in relation with you, and everything else is just block, delete, unfollow. And so you can control your sensitivity. But I think being able to have the contrast in our consumption and in our information is what allows us to really expand as a person, for sure. So you talked about your friends. You don't call people friends. Did you used to have a problem with that? Calling everybody a friend? What happened?
Absolutely, I had a problem with that. I just anybody that I have a connection with or like had a good conversation with or met and had a moment with, I'm like, yeah, like my friend so and so and my friend this and my friend, and it's like, and that comes to from a place. I'm a recovering people pleaser. Um, that's what I
No,
think
it's
that
real.
that's really like yeah, it's like an addiction, especially when you develop it from like a child, and so those two things for me are kind of attached, but it's also, this passion, right? That is very authentic and like, oh, I just love people. I genuinely do. But I definitely was overusing that and not leaving that friend space for people that actually mean that. And then to go deeper than that, I realized that, in me calling them my friend, I'm kind of cheating them out of a friend because it's like I'm not doing the things on the other side that would be qualified as a friend either. So what is the point? Why am I just being so free with this and everything? And and so I've come to really call people friends who pour into me, I pour into you. We hold each other accountable. We're real with each other. We lift each other up. We don't tear each other down. We can have radically honest conversations because we don't need to waste each other's time, and it's not
Hmm.
a waste. Sometimes people are in your life, in your space, in your journey in a very surface way or a fleeting way. And that's just how it's meant to be. And it's beautiful for what it is, but it doesn't necessarily, you don't have to label them as like a friend necessarily. Right.
Especially as a
Um,
people pleaser, because then you put yourself in a tough situation where you're thinking about what they think a friend means, and am I being up to the standard that I just claimed for them? And now you got this whole friction inside of like, I said friend, but I ain't mean it, but also I want to please them to put to their standard of friend. And now, am I doing enough? And now you're distracted again, and that's the power of words.
right.
And I say, stop saying everything's crazy, wild, sorry, love, hate. Don't say those so much. Calm down, because when you really
Mm,
need to use them, they gonna mean something, and you need to wait until you really mean it. Oh, I love this show. What? You love a show like you love your mama? How do we know the difference? Because you say it too damn much.
Mm.
You're sorry for everything.
You know
Now,
what?
yeah.
You know what my word is that I
What's that?
overuse? It's probably so funny and maybe people can identify. I'd be like, "That's awesome."
Right. Not even cool. Not even
That's so
awesome.
awesome.
What would you say if something really was awesome? Well, you got another word for that? A next word up? Or you just say it louder?
I think with more enthusiasm, I think a better word, what I've been trying to replace "that's awesome" with is like, you know, "that's lovely," or "that time was really," or "that podcast that I watched was really meaningful," or, there's so many other descriptors. The 4 agreements has really been popping back into my sphere and being impeccable with my words, and that comes with a little bit of pause. It comes with a little bit of thought. A lot of times we want to just jump to like say something to fill the space when we could just sit back, have a moment, think about, well, how did this person or piece of art or whatever it is that I'm encountering, how did it really land with me? How did it make me feel truly? And that might come a little bit like, you talk about growing your mind. You might have to read some books and
Man,
expand your vocabulary
got
so
to.
that you can have some more words to describe some things?
For real. You gotta grow your mind, man. And that ability to sit back comes from an awareness of the internal dialogue. Because there's a subconscious mind and an annoying roommate. There's a book called Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer, and there's also one called Living Untethered, and talk about that second voice. That freaking all it does is try to please ego, subconscious programming all day. Evaluate, point, hot, cold, packed, gross, all day. If you can't control that mind, then we live in an emotional state based off of our environment. Now we are reacting instead of responding. Now, how do we control that voice? You put yourself into a controlled struggle. Weights, waking up early, stretching, meditate, journal, prayer, fasting, cold shower, cold treatment, uncomfortable shit that you do on purpose. And that voice is like, oh, get me out, let me out, too heavy, I don't want to, I'm hungry. And you still choose intention. Then you start to strengthen the muscle. It's called the dorsal cortex that allows you to choose intention over emotion. Then when you get around people, you can still use that muscle. But if you're in comfort, on your phone scrolling, past your bedtime, hit the snooze, wake up late, drink coffee right away, no water, don't even brush your tongue because it takes too long because your arm's tired. You ain't you ain't never gonna be able to control your emotions. And now you're so sensitive and you got social anxiety.
I know that's
Damn.
right. I mean, I heard that was honestly one of the things that I heard someone say that really stuck with me is choose to do something hard every day. And I like the way that you described it as, it's chosen or controlled struggle,
Hmm.
right? There's so many things already in our life that are going to be prescribed to us just off, being on this earth and in this reality. And they do grow you, but there is something special about the way that you grow when you choose to do something hard and you overcome it, and the way that it impacts your psyche and your self-confidence,
Hmm.
right? Those other things make you resilient and all these things, but the things that you choose that you end up overcoming, I feel like that hits different. You know what I
Man.
mean? It's like, I made the decision and then I did it and I overcame that struggle.
And it sucked the whole time. I do it with weights. I'm always like, damn, this shit heavy. And I'm like, one more, don't fuck. And I hear it. You can put this down. You can just stop.
Mhm.
You can cold shower 2 minutes every morning. I'm just like, this is cold as fuck today. Why is it so cold? And I'm like, don't be complaining. Just breathe. Just breathe every morning. 3 a.m., 4 a.m., I'm in there. 50 deep breaths, spinning around in the shower. Armpit, nuts, ass. Get everything that's warm. Don't try to make it comfortable and hold it. No, you got to get every crevice and freeze until you get lightheaded.
In there.
Just high as hell in there. Dopamine from deep breaths in cold water. Dopamine, Hakeem. But what it does is it's called the anterior cingulate cortex. There's an interview podcast by David Goggins and Andrew Huberman. It gets stronger when you do things you don't want to
Humor me,
do.
that's one of my favorites.
Yeah, he's a shit.
Yeah.
He's a shit. It gets stronger
Mhm.
when you do things you don't want to do. But you can't, if I love going to the gym, going to the gym does not strengthen that. You have to do something you don't like at the gym. The pain, when the excuses pop up. I love lifting weights, but the part that sucks is when I think I'm done and I'm about to tear my shit. That's when it gets stronger. I can't just go in there and lift weights. I love doing that. But I have to push past the threshold of this is fun to this sucks. So if you don't, well, there's plenty of things like that. But also the dorsal cortex is part of the anterior cingulate cortex. They have the ventral and the dorsal. The ventral is reflexive. Sounds, somebody jump out at you, or you feel like you're about to fall. That's the ventral. Oh shit. Or like car door, car crash, or your freaking alarm. That's the ventral. Like, hey, something's annoying me. Pay attention. And then your salience network provides you with your choices. Am I going to stay in bed? Am I going to get up? Am I going to go to my kids? Am I going to wait until my kids get up? Am I going to hit the snooze button? Am I going to quit my job because I want to sleep? I don't even need this damn job. What are my choices? The dorsal chooses the choice. The dorsal gets stronger when you increase the emotions and you choose intention. So putting yourself outside of your comfort zone increases the volume on your emotions in the quitting mind, and you choose intention, you get your anterior cingulate cortex stronger and your dorsal stronger. That's the same muscle. It's a mind muscle we use all damn day. Now when you drive past McDonald's, you can flex that muscle, dorsal cortex flex. But if you're just out here looking for instant gratification all morning, snooze button, news, scrolling, your mind is weak. That's why you're stressed out and hitting the wall at damn noon. Now you need a Celsius. See?
which is terrible for you, by the way. But
Terrible, man.
look, and we do that. It becomes so easy to do that when we go on autopilot, because what you're talking about, and I know I've experienced this, it requires an effort to stay present. Like if
Mhm.
you're not present and you're just letting life take you, my mama always said that. She'd say, Danielle Marie, take the day, don't let the day take you. And she said that to me from the time I was like small. And now what I equate that to is presence, like literally, and maybe people overuse this, especially in like the spiritual or healing communities or whatever. I take presence as like literally I'm here right now. I'm aware of what's happening, what I'm thinking, what's going on. And that is another level of awareness, not only like being in your consciousness, but being aware of how, like, what is my brain doing? What are the functions that are taking place? How am I contributing to or hindering the processes that are taking place in my biological body? Because you unlock a whole other realm of control and power and strength and all these things when you understand your body at the level that you're talking about.
Mhm.
Come on now. Like
Shit.
there's a power, an epic power in that, because think about all the things that are going on in our bodies, like the way your blood is flowing through your veins, and like just simple things that we take for granted, you breathing,
Yeah.
so much
70,000
happening
thoughts. Yeah.
mm, at that level, that micro level, that is it's micro, but it's so expansive. And so if we don't take the time to become aware, make that choice to be aware and approach life with that in mind, you're just letting the day take you. You're letting the day and whatever comes with that take you, and just hang on for the ride, I guess.
Yeah. I hope you can. Shoot, you better or stay your ass in the house like they want us to. No, that's for real, man. Exercising the mind comes with the systems and the foundation. And one way to work on being present is tap into your passion. You know you're passionate when you lose track of time and you get in the flow state and you're literally only focused on a thing. When I create content, when I'm in the morning, when I'm lifting, when I'm in the cold shower, when I'm meditating, meditating stuff. Sometimes you get thoughts coming through, but that's the point of it. When I force myself into the presence by doing hard things. And that's what I do when I run a mile, when I cold shower, when I weights. But you love meditation and nature, and you have your passion you tap into, and you fast. How does meditation, fasting, help you to be present and control that mind for you?
Yeah. Meditation for me it's hard. It is that hard thing,
Hmm.
because I don't necessarily like to just sit still, and I'm just, from the time that I come out of the dream state, I'm like, I got to do this. I need to do this and be here. And this person needs this. And it's just like, it hits me like a flood. And so it's necessary for me to do that practice, not only because it's hard, but because it allows me to block out all of that, create a foundation for that day, and just start with, silence. And sometimes I meditate with music, but sometimes it's just silence. Sometimes it's like nature sounds. I set my intention. I identify how I'm feeling, and open myself up to how I'm going to carry that day, or how I'm going to approach that day. So that helps me a lot. And then as far as fasting, fasting for me just helps me clear all of the, we talk about distractions, your body calling you to eat chips and, candy and this and that and the other, or even just to overeat in general is a distraction. I can't tell you how many times I know when I need to fast, when I'm like, all I can think of is, "Oh, what am I gonna eat for lunch? What am I gonna eat for dinner? What am I gonna eat for snack?" Like, that is so, when that becomes so incessant in me, I'm like, "Oh, I got some sugar demons that I need to
Parasites.
purge," because
Yeah.
they're clawing literally like, "Eat some pizza," and it's like, "Y'all are not gonna run me, I'm gonna run you." So I ease into it, I usually do, like, fruit smoothies, like, veggie broths, very easy to digest things for me. I don't know, everybody is not the same as far as their body. But then I do the fast, the longest fast I've ever done with no food, because there's different types of fast. I've done just like a raw fast where I'm fasting from anything that's processed or cooked or anything like that. I've done that for like 6 days, but no food. I've gotten to 4.5, 5 days.
Just
And
water.
honestly, by the end, just water, and herbs and sea moss. By day, yeah, it's tough because day 2, your body's like, "You better eat something or you're gonna die."
Yeah.
Like, you get so dramatic. You
That's what
get
happened to
so
me.
dramatic where yes. I remember you telling me, tough, right? Like,
Yeah.
it it'll have you question your whole reality, and so, but by day 4 or 5, I feel like I have superpowers. I feel like my vision's clear, I can hear things, like my senses are heightened in a way that's not like, "Oh, there's danger," but in a way of, like, clarity, you know what I mean? And I just feel so good, and my energy level is different. I start to be able to have dreams that I can recall. There's just all these beautiful things, that happen when you just, empty your vessel and rid yourself of the like distraction of needing to feed yourself in that way. Yeah, fasting is crazy, and then physical exercise for me is of top importance. I exercise at least 5 times a week, if not every day some weeks. And yeah, lately I've been like running, I have to run a mile at least 4 times a week. So that's my goal, to run at least 4 to 5 miles every week. Because I feel like, what if at any given moment, if
Hmm.
I can run a mile, I'm good.
Yep. Got to do that. I mean, that's probably a low percentage of people that can run a mile, especially if you're after 30, 35. I think it's a high percentage, like 80% of people can't sprint after 35. I be doing sprints on the treadmill. I should get outside, but it's just not a lot of space in New York. But on the treadmill, I try to sprint like twice a week. I run a mile, run about the same amount, about three
Yeah.
to 4 miles. I'm on the elliptical every day, stretch every day. But yeah, the foundation is important. Have your non negotiables, man. Find out what that is for you. And then do it, actually do it. What does your foundation look like when no one's watching? Like you said, you had your exercise, fasting, you got meditation, better every day, speaking, cleanliness, and creativity. Said you recently created a 60-day learning journey for yourself. What's that?
Yeah, so I'm just in this space where I'm like, I feel like I don't, like, know enough about anything. And it's a beautiful feeling to feel that, to just be honest with yourself and be like, there is so much more for me to learn. I feel like there's nothing more pure and more joyous than the heart of like a student, and that willingness to learn. And so that's what I did. I said, okay, I need to learn and I want to grow, myself into and my awareness and my intelligence and my spiritual connection. And I want to become better at creating and reduce the friction that I feel with doing something that's so much a part of my spirit and my heart. I don't want there to be friction. There's going to be some, but I want to reduce it, right? I want it to become more flowy. I want it to just run like a faucet, and not like a little.
Little drip.
So I created this day by day journey for myself where there's a topic, I learn about the topic by through either a video or an excerpt from a piece of literature. And then, there's I journal about it and reflect on it, and then I there's an exercise to where I can apply it in my life. And then alongside that, I did like a creative expansion workbook so that I'm learning about something that's either within the self or about society, technology, politics, whatever that may be. But at my heart, I'm a creator. So I want to make sure as I'm learning and expanding on that level, I'm also training my creativity. And so it's a creative exercise that pretty much allows for me to connect my, I guess, like, let it out. You know what I mean? Connect what I'm learning to how I'm creating and how I'm expressing. So,
Yeah, that's dope. I ain't never heard of that before. That's cool. You put yourself through a own life course, about to get a life degree on yourself in 60 days, and then probably make another one. That's the thing about growing your mind, man. The more you know you don't know. And the more you think you know, the less you know. And the more you know yourself, the farther your best version goes. For some reason, it's like the more
yeah.
confident and more evolved you get, your goals get further. You're like, I could do even more than I thought. And now it's even farther away. And so that's why you got to embrace the dang journey. The journey is subjective, the destiny is objective. Just be most selective with your perspective and stop saying please when you pray because it's on the way.
Ooh, I love that. It's so divine that you said that. I mean, beautifully put, but it's divine that you said that because I just heard today. I was listening to a neuroscientist speak on life and journeys, and she said that life is all about the journey because and not the destination, or else we would call life death, right?
Damn.
Because we all headed toward death, but we don't call life that. That's not what this is centered around. It's about the journey, right? And that really hit me because I'm like, it really is. We can focus on that, or we can be here and be present, like we were talking about. And it's always now, and now and now and now and now. And what are we
That's
gonna
it.
do with that?
That's it. I mean, you can have plans. You can pray, you can write it down, vision board, you can talk about it, but ain't nothing gonna happen without action. I tell you that, ain't nobody coming to save you, not even your savior, until you change your behavior and show that you actually believe in his plan by taking action, blind faith. Like all spiritual leaders, you got to start doing something, learn something, and things. When you start to seek understanding, you seek development, you'll start to notice the signs. But if you don't, you're gonna be blind. And that's like that every time. And that's investing in yourself. That's what you've been doing with the foundation. That's how you got over the dark place, investing time, energy, resources from the trigger point to creating and contributing to whoever else and to your purpose, to yourself, to your creator, and to others. There's the environment evaluation. You started to eliminate toxins and add in nutrients in all forms. You started to set the foundation with meditation, exercise, journaling, nature, and you invest in yourself, time, energy, resources. What are some what are some major investments that you made in yourself that you'd recommend everybody do? Whether it's time, energy, resources, money. What's a type of investment?
I think for me, the most valuable, and this continues to be true no matter what stage in my life that I'm in, And no matter what realm of my life that we're talking about, whether it's, creative, professional, relationships, the way that you spend your time, like the time is just like it's so valuable. I don't know how else to, yeah, money is needed, currency and, it moves things, right? But the way that you spend your time is directly related to the flow of your currency, and that was my biggest, I'm like, "Oh, why isn't this happening? And why isn't that happening?" It's like, "Oh, because and I didn't even get it probably till maybe when my brain developed at like 27, like spending time.
Right.
You're spending time. We talk about spending money, and I was like, "Oh, duh." Like, so how you spend it, So I think for me, my biggest, investment has been in times when I really just wanted to barrel down a pathway of like, you know, in the mindset of like, "Oh, well, this is gonna make me the most money and this is gonna do this." It's like, mm, let me look at this, sacrifice on this side at, I'm reclaiming my time so that I can invest it so I can have an even greater payout on, the back end. And that payout is, being closer to my dreams of, impacting people with my art, which will come, if you spend that time, invest that time. For me, it's, investing the time in my creative realm and the business, that I run also with my creative partner, Better Sense. And that really is when you do your own thing and you bet on yourself is a very scary thing.
Hmm.
It's like, no, if things are going to work out the way that you want it to, or the way that you are saying, like, it needs to be like this. But what you can know is that if you lay brick by brick by brick by brick, there is going to be a wall, So you just have to do the thing every day. And that's what I'm really working to do is, just create every day and see how, how I can at one point get to say like, "Oh wow, look at this thing."
You're not
Look
saying
at
that
what
now, you don't
look at
think? You don't think you're saying that now about a previous version last year or 2 years ago?
Yeah, oh yeah, for sure. I definitely when I look at like my music, it's so crazy because I'm in between New Mexico and Texas. So I'm currently in Dallas right now and I was at a coffee shop with a friend and I stopped mid-sentence, just so dramatic. I'm like, I hear my song
Oh,
like
shit.
in the parking lot. Yeah, like Day by Day was playing. I'm like, that is my song. And I'm in a place I don't know people. There wasn't anyone around that I know. I wasn't, and I heard my song playing, like as they were just blasting it as they were like driving out the parking lot. And so that was one of those moments where I'm like, wow, that was me looking back at all of those, bricks that I was tediously laying, the time in the studio, not going out and deciding to go to the studio or to write or to, have a strategic planning session with my creative partner instead of just, vacationing for no reason, like, hey, let's do this retreat and let's make an album. That's how my, last album, CQ, was created in an earthship in Taos. And so that was one of those moments. I definitely have that and I was so grateful for that to be able to look back and say, wow, like that moment is a culmination of all the times that I invested in myself and in my dream.
You better invest into yourself, health, time, relationships. I say the core four. That's what I do when I speak to high schoolers, I speak to corporate, I speak to sober houses, I speak to athletes. Health, time, relationships, money. And the only way to get more health is to invest your time into yourself. And the only way to get more time without cheating technology and all that now, you could definitely freaking cheat, but natural way is to put time, use your time wisely and add time on the end of your life, which then increases your health span and the quality of life, which then you can then pour more into your relationships and you get money by adding value to others. So it starts with you. How you gonna add from half a glass? Now you get home, now you done cracked your ass and your back. Now you ain't got no water left. Now you done ran out of willpower. Now you done eating snacks. You ate all your kids' snacks, and your kids is up late, and you went in bed, you didn't even shower. See? Messing everything up. Now you in a dirty bed, you done got up, you didn't even sleep right because you got skin oil all in your eyes and it's all crusty. You got to invest in yourself. Health, time, relationships, money. But yeah, it's been great. Thank you, Clark. I appreciate it. Where can we get your album? When's the next album? Where's the next show? How can we follow you? I'm gonna put it on the show notes.
Yeah, for sure. I'm working on an EP actually, and it'll most likely first be released on our website, which is Better Since, like Better Since Yesterday, but with no vowels. So BTTRSNC.com. And then select other streaming sites, probably not Spotify at this point. I won't get into that. You can follow me on Instagram. It's Clark.music. So Clark with a Q and music with a Q at the end. And yeah, I would be so grateful to have anybody just tap in with me. I'm learning, growing, creating day by day. And, I want to give a huge shout out to Scotty, who is my producer, my creative partner, my mentor, my business partner, all of that. You can tap in with us. We're starting a new creative blog to support creators in their journey on that website, as well as, the music and everything that we're releasing. We have a lot of events in the Southwest. So yeah, tap in there.
Y'all tap in, man. Y'all tap into other creators to tap into your creative power. And that's the way we do. Thanks for tapping into the Choose Yourself channel. Tap in with her, tap in with the CYC, tap in with yourself. In the meantime, keep the gratitude in your attitude and choose yourself.